Oh, good evening, everyone. Um, it's been quite a week, hasn't it? Um, and everything in the news has even put onto the back page the fact that we had 4,000 coronavirus deaths in a single day, and we're over 370,000 now. So, but in addition to all that, I've had some family challenges. I just came from hospice a few minutes ago, and my mother-in-law is dying, and she's 98 and a half, so it's not tragic. But when somebody close to you goes into the dying process, there's really a lot to do, and probably as many of you know. So it is stressful. I mean, on top of grief and so on, there's just all this stuff to do. So tonight, I'm just going to let this all flow, because I'm practicing here now with you because I really need to. So I'm just going to do what I feel like I need to do to sort of come back into some kind of balance with everything that's happening, kind of internally and interpersonally, and then all the way out into the world and the nation and the world, all this stuff that's going on. It's very stressful. So I'm just going to kind of do what I need to do, what I feel, and my hunch is that that all of you are feeling pretty much the same thing, because a lot of our feelings, particularly anxiety, fear, things like that, don't just originate with us personally. They're much bigger, and that's certainly true in the society right now. So I'm thinking that we're all more or less, to some extent, more or less, on the same page with this, with all this. And this is where our practice really becomes the most useful. Maybe we'll touch into the consciousness in the body and so on. And we have plenty of time to do that again in the future. I would say now, though, just with this perspective right now, the consciousness in the organs of the body that we explored last week, of course, is real. And it's been said, I've been involved in hospice for a very long time, and death and dying and so on. And it's been said that it's okay, the body knows how to die. And I think that there's some real truth in that. But I also think it speaks to a larger consciousness, that the stomach knows how to digest, and the heart knows how to circulate, and the lungs know how, all these systems know how to do what they do. Yet they're all subject to this bigger rhythm, this bigger nature, which has to do with birth and death. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with that, with the organs. We will be doing some sitting practice, so if you have a stool or something ready, that would be good. So as we're standing, we're just sort of checking in with how the body is as far as being aligned, and as far as being relaxed. So we're just, without changing anything yet, we're just sort of checking into where the body is at right now. And by that I mean the body stores all the emotions that are flowing through it, and if it hasn't released them, they're still there. So we just sort of check out, and then once we do that, maybe we can just sort of move a little bit, so we can drop into the posture. And from the waist up, or the hips up, this is sitting meditation posture, same posture. So just sort of being still and allowing the body to be heard, so to speak. Okay, and then let's acknowledge the directions. Because like I say, none of us is independent. So we're all connected to the north, and all beings to the north. And then turning, and we're all connected to the east, and all beings in the east. And turning to the south, and we're connected to the south, and all beings to the south. And then finally, for the directions to the west, and all beings to the west. And then connecting with all beings in all worlds, seen and unseen, known and unknown, past, present, and future, connecting to all beings in those realms. And then connecting to all beings in the earth, including the elements, all beings in the past. And then here, connecting to all beings within the body. So this is the organs. This is the teeny little microorganisms that live. And it's to all the people in our hearts, and to our ancestors, the lower hand. So connected to all directions and to all beings. Okay. And now we can go ahead and move to open the body, starting upstairs. We've checked in with it, and we've oriented it to the directions. And now, through movement, we're going to help it to release. You can do the shoulders alternately like this, or you can do them together like this. Whatever you like, try it either way. Alternating can involve the whole body, all the way up from the legs, and then reverse that. But in any case, we're not moving our arms. We're moving our shoulders. And the arms are just along for the ride. So check out what happens with the breath as we feel into, and then really releasing these tensions just by bringing our attention to that. And then what we're doing is we're opening the joints. And we're opening the lungs, the chest. And we're releasing. So we're letting go of holding on to things here. Okay, and let's continue the opening. So we're opening the lungs, the heart, the rib cage, the chest. And this is a pumping movement that affects the breath. So really do this so you open up and then you breathe in more deeply. And as you fold, then that forces the air out. So we're just exaggerating the breathing pattern. So the out breath is also releasing tension, isn't it? It's releasing CO2. It's emptying out. It's letting go. The out breath is letting go. Okay. Let's reduce these movements. Okay, why don't we repeat that with the lower dantian? So this is like opening the 7 gates, isn't it? This would be opening the 2nd gate, but it's also the lower dantian. So the intention here is to open. After that, it's receptive. So the intention here, we point to the body, we open the hands. That's opening. After that, we just receive. We just feel what that openness is like. So we don't want to overdo the intention, the control. So we open and then receive, then feel that openness. Okay, let's reduce these movements. Okay, good. And now let's tip the pelvis. This is very good because it allows our lower back to be flexible, so that it can be strong when we're standing or sitting. Okay, and then we just reduce those. All right, and then circling. Now you can engage a lot of the body when you're doing this, if you want to. The knees are very involved in this. And then other way. Okay. Okay, before we going into the balancing part, let's just come back into the vertical posture. You can, sometimes things tighten up a little when we move. So before we're going to shift the weight, let's come into a real centered pose here. Now, some of the teachings are to really feel and imagine that the body is just like a tree, and it's rooted down into the earth. This sense of we're not standing up; we're being held up, and that the circulatory system, so to speak, is down in the ground too. That we're rooted into the ground. Okay, so as we're going to be doing balance, so we still have the rootedness. It's just that we're just going to move it all onto one foot. So let's sink the weight, sit down, let the unweighted heel come up. And then just sense that we're still rooted. Okay. Now let's just do this at your own pace. But before you lift that foot, really get the sense of being rooted. So there's the earth cone, which is the standing mountain. And the rootedness is the extension of that. And then there's the sky cone. And so if you like, I mean, you can imagine or sense into the roots going down and up. So the body's sort of rooted in the earth and in the sky, and just exists as a connection between them. And that, again, that's like a tree, because you have the roots and you have the branches. So supported by the roots in the ground and supported by the sun, the moon, the stars, the air. So there's nowhere to go. We're already everywhere. Okay. All right, very good. And let's go ahead now and move into cloud hands. So as long as you can maintain a connection between the palms, you can do this move however you like. So, classically it's sort of like this in Tai Chi. The hands are maybe, I don't know, 10 or 12 inches apart. Or it can be lower dantian and middle dantian. If you need to, you can have your hands real close together, and then you can maybe sense the connection more easily. But once you have it, you can make this quite big, quite expressive, as long as there's still this connection. It's a left and right connection, but it's the up and down connection. It's the connection of earth and sky. And you want to keep that. And if you sense maybe you're getting a little carried away, then you can come back to doing it smaller. And then sort of once you have it again, then you can express it a little bigger. Okay. Okay, well, let's reduce. And then you can come back into this sense of connection with the hands. Until you finish. So this can be embracing the heart, if it's up here. It can also be connecting the upper or middle dantian, excuse me, with the lower. It can be like this. This would be the Tai Chi pose. But in Qigong, just feel where you can move the hands and still have this connection. Okay. So let's go into diagonal flying. Now the lower hand is going to be the one to go out. So we wind up the direction of the upper hand. We wind up. Okay, and we send the lower hand out. Okay, and then come back. And now the other one's the lower hand. Wind up. Send it out. Switch. Wind up. Send it out. Send it out. And we're going both ways. We're sending one out and sending the other one back. And the name of this is diagonal flying. So make the connection between the palms before you separate them. So we're not trying to maintain a connection when we extend, but then we remake the connection in the middle. It's an out breath when we extend. And then there's a turning of the waist, a wind up. So it's a movement of the waist, the hips, the waist, the shoulders, and the hand just expresses it. So out breath expels and releases. And in breath makes the connection again with the palms. So this is very cleansing. It's exaggerating the out breath. Okay, let's reduce these. Can you sense this connection between the palms? You can move them quite close, expand them a little more. And so now we can move the hands vertically, and we're also focusing on the central axis in the body, or the column, central column in the body. So as the hands separate, so our attention, of course, goes with them, not only with the hands, but inside the body. So let's extend, okay, and point up and down, and sink down, hands come together. Okay, and let's switch. So this is like touching heaven, touching earth, but this is still playing with the chi between the palms. So the palms come together, that's an out breath. Palms separate, in breath. Out breath, sink down. Sort of like, imagine sort of like a bellows or an accordion. Okay, let's reduce. Okay, good. Now let's go into Trembling Mountain. Now, this is one of the movements that I've not been able to figure out how to do sitting down. Maybe on a trampoline, I don't know. But this is so useful, so effective in releasing tension in the body, which is tension in the mind, which is anxiety. So anxiety in the mind is accompanied by certain thoughts. Anxiety in the body is accompanied by tension. So there's sort of two doorways to release the anxiety. One's through the mind and one's through the body. And by just letting go of all the tension in the body, by doing this, the mind is naturally going to have more of a sense of well-being. Anxiety is a sense of ill-being. None of my teachers taught this, but I think it's fine to twist around a little bit, as long as you maintain your feet in contact with the floor. I think moving around is fine. And, go ahead and experiment with different frequencies of this. It's great to do it slowly, too. Okay, just another minute. Sometimes it's just remembering to do simple things like this when we get tense, or when we get upset or depressed or whatever, off balance. It's kind of a matter of remembering to do this. Because once we do it, it feels good and we want to keep doing it. Okay, just a little bit more. Okay, why don't we, instead of just stopping, why don't we just sort of reduce the movement? And you may have created some heat and accelerated heart rate. So just letting it settle down a little bit. Now, Traveling Mountain is really about the out breath, isn't it? It's really about releasing. So I would say, focusing more on the out breath and the downward sense. Okay, now let's go ahead and bring up our stool. So when we sit, naturally our heart rate will go down a little bit, our breathing will slow down a little bit. It takes less effort than standing. And again, focusing a little more on the out breath. Now, after Trembling Mountain, it's effective to do a little breathing the stars. So breathing in through the pores of the skin, which are tingling already, and breathing out through the pores of the skin. So as we check our posture, one thing to notice is that generally as we move through our normal day, our head is a little forward. We're kind of leaning into things. We're focusing on the senses on our face, sense organs, eyes, ears, nose, tongue. And so there's this kind of leaning forward, leaning into things that we just do unconsciously. And so if you just sort of check and tuck the chin a little bit, and then just intentionally bring the attention around to the back of the head. So there's a skull here, there's a whole head here. Okay, it's not just a face, it's a whole thing, it's a whole round big thing, and it's balanced on the very tip top of the spine. And so when we're leaning forward, the message is, we're looking around, looking for stuff, and we're thinking. But the message to the body as we take this posture is that we're just aligned. We're just aligning. And our awareness is in the body. And the same with the eyes. When we're dreaming or having REM sleep, the eyes are moving. When we're thinking, our eyes often tend to move. And when we're being alert, of course, and looking around, we're fearful or we're even just vigilant, our eyes are moving. And so just letting the eyes relax. And even just saying eyes, thank you, but you don't really have to look at anything right now. But just rest. And then that sort of naturally drops the chin, brings the attention around to the back of the head. And the eyes just rest. There's no teaching I've encountered in Qigong as to whether you have your eyes closed or slightly open. It's up to you. In Zen meditation, the eyes are slightly open. And so try both. In Qigong, using the eyes is very important for moving the qi. So that's fine. It's just a conscious choice whether we're going to move our eyes or let them rest. And we're just letting them rest right now. Okay, now let's move our attention up to the top of the head and let the eyes be still. And visualize golden light coming down. And so in breath, hands come up. It's like the begging dog. Fingertips touch the face. So out breath, just stroke down the face. And then in breath, up again. There's many tiny muscles in the face. And this is a good way to let them just relax. And we're not using our face here to smell, see, hear, taste. It's just there. Okay. Okay. And then the massaging the eye sockets. Of course, the eyes are closed, but we're definitely not using the eyes to look around. We're helping the eyes to relax. You can just rest. You're on break. You don't have to look around at anything. And then the next one is to just lightly press on the temple area and then massage the temples. There are actually a lot of muscles underneath the scalp. Now, if you like, you can just lightly pinch the bridge of the nose. People kind of do this naturally. This is an acupressure location. And it does cause relaxation in the face. And combing back the hair and so on. All right. And let's just go ahead and check in with the body, loosen it. Okay, so the Lan Fa mudra this connects a sort of a circuit so that energy is not expressed from the hand, it's contained. So it makes a circle, it's flowing in the arm, in the hand, it's flowing within the body. So this is just this posture, and if you use that mudra, this is focusing on internal circulation. Now, if you like, you can try the microcosmic orbit. We've always done it with the eyes, but just if you like, you can try it with the eyes just still. Now, there's an internal kind of seeing. that has to do with sense of touch. And the eyes will sort of want to move, but they don't need to. You can just feel the body filling and emptying. And let's drop our attention straight down the body to the point where we first feel the in-breath start. The in-breath starts with an expansion of the abdominal muscles. And there's a point low down in the torso where the in-breath begins. And the throat is just open. Okay, good. Now let's move into atmosphere or attitude. So attitude can be positive, negative, or neutral. So let's invoke a positive attitude of some kind. It could be happiness, joy, contentment. It could be gratitude. It could just be pleasure or presence, friendliness toward the breath or the body. So just intentionally form an attitude, decide on one, and breathe it in. Fill the body with that attitude. It's just in this moment. And suffuse the body with the out-breath. Like a sponge, a dry sponge dropped in water. So suffuse the body. The attitude is the water. Body's the sponge. So every cell in the body feels this attitude. Just in this moment. I feel this way. I create a sense of this attitude and I feel it. I suffuse the body with it. And now we're going to move it through the body, suffuse the body, and let it move through the skin in all directions. So it's going out into the air. Now the in-breath, regenerate the attitude, the out-breath, suffuse the body and the space around the body. And you can say the word if that's helpful. And this works because the body's open. It's not tense, it's not holding back. It's open to whatever attitude you create. If you want to create a different one now, positive attitude. Now, the consciousness goes out with it and becomes bigger. Suddenly the body seems to sort of expand. A little bit into the space around it. In-breath creates the attitude, out-breath expresses it and feels it. All right, let's take a few more breaths. And then as you're ready, go ahead and move a little bit and loosen up. And just sort of check out how you feel, how the body feels, what your mood is now. Okay, so let's clap our hands one time. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Comb back the hair. Tap the kidneys. Okay, so I will stop the recording.